Welcome to Ezayola Online English. We are still in our episodes of the English tenses, and today we are looking at the past tense. Remember, we've been able to talk about the present tense, and then we actually mentioned the tenses, and we told you that the tenses deal with time. When we talk about English tenses, we are really making reference to times. They have connections with the times. Times that they are the various verb forms that tell us the times that different actions occur. And I told you actually that we have about 12 different tenses classified into three different aspects. That means we have the present tense, which has a kind of other subtenses embodied under it. We have the past tense as well, and then the future tense. Today we are looking at the past tense as one of the major tenses. And when we talk about the past tense, what do we mean? We are making reference to actions that had taken place. And you know that when we talk about the past actions, something that happened a minute ago is already in the past. So when we say past, something that happened a second ago is equally a past action. Now, there are events that took place, decades of years ago, and there are events that took place centuries ago. There are equally things that happened last year. There is something that happened 25 years back, and something that happened last night, and something that happened just a couple of hours ago, something that also happened a minute ago. They are all past tense. Now, let's look at the board and obtain some expressions in the English language to exemplify what we mean by past tense. We could say, I ate rice last night. That's one. Somebody could say, he saw the man few minutes ago. Look at this. He saw the man few minutes ago. We could also say the man died. The man died 25 years ago. 25 years ago. All right, we have three sentence examples on the board. And from what we have, remember we are talking about the past tense. And from these examples, these sentence examples tell us about the simple past tense, because we have other past tense example form of, other aspects of the past tense we are going to discuss this morning. But from these first examples, they are centered on the simple past tense. So from the first example, we have, I ate rice last night. I ate rice, and the verb there is ate. So when we talk about the ate, that's the verb in the past tense form. What's the present tense form of it? The present tense form of it is eat. That is E-A-T. Okay? And the past tense, the simple past, is ate. That's good. So the next expression is, he saw the man few minutes ago. We have the verb saw in the simple past tense before the last one, which says the man died. Sorry, we omitted man here. The man died. The man died 25 years ago. Now you see the verbs that are obtained from this expression. The first one is ate, and the present tense form of it is eat. We have saw, all right, to be the verb existing here because the sentence is in the simple past tense. What is the present tense form of this? The present tense form of it is see, and we have died. Died, the present tense form of it is die, of course. So because we have presented these expressions in their simple past tense, all right, that's why we have it as I ate rice last night. Number two, He saw the man few minutes ago, and the man died. Finally, the man died 25 years ago. What do we notice here? The first action took place last night, in the past, all right? The second one took place few minutes ago, and that's still in the past. The last one took place 25 years ago, still in the past. So actions in the past could take place a few minutes ago, maybe last night, decades ago, years back, centuries ago, and all that, everything in the past. Okay, having said this, we shall make progress to talk about other aspects of the past tense. The first one is the simple past tense we've discussed. We are looking at the past continuous tense. All right, the past continuous tense, that's another aspect of the past tense. When we say past continuous tense, all right, we are talking about past progressive. Now, this kind of tense must involve the presence of two verbs. Two verbs in an expression that is representing past continuous tense. And these two verbs, one must be in the simple past, while the other one, which would be the main verb, must be written in the progressive. That's the continuous. Example, we could say something like this. He was eating when I came in. When I came in. Number two, we could also say the boy was crying when his father flogged him. Flogged him. The boy was crying when his father flogged him. And finally, we could say, I was going to the movie. When I was going to the movie, when I got his call. When I got his call. Okay? All right. Now look at the first one. He was eating. Was and eating. When I came in, he was eating. The second one says the boy was crying and then was going. Now, what do we have to see here? Remember, we are talking about past continuous tense, okay? And in past continuous tense, it means that there must be the presence or the connection or the blending together of two verbs. Yes, two verbs. One must be in the past, while the next one must be in the progressive. Remember, the progressive or the continuous tense form of the verbs are these verbs that must possess the ing. That is progress, okay? Now, this one, he was eating, the was here, is actually a verb in the past, simple past tense. Eating here should be seen as the main verb. So we have the auxiliary verb here, was, helping the main verb, which is eating, in the progressive, when I came in, okay? The next one says, the boy was crying when his father flogged him. Now, if you look at this critically, what do you have to observe here? At a point in the past tense, all right, when the actions took place, probably when the boy was eating when I came in, that time I came in, I met him in action. He was actually carrying out the activity. That is why it has to be in the progressive. The particular verb here existing should be in the progressive, because although it has happened actually, but then when I came in to see the action, I discovered that the action was in progress. That's why it is past progressive. Although past, But when it was on, it was in the progressive tense. It was in, action. It was happening that moment, when the event was met by myself. So that's why it is past progressive or past continuous tense. The next one, the boy was crying. Yes, when his father flogged him. At a time in the past, the father of the boy picked up a cane and flogged the boy in question. He began to cry. Now, when I came in to see the situation, I came in and discovered that the boy was crying at that point in time. Okay, I met the action. Now that I want to discuss it, the action is already past. That's why it is past continuous, past progressive. I was going to the movie when I got his call. Okay, we've taken these few examples to talk about the past continuous tense. You can see how sentences would always appear when they are written in their past continuous or past progressive tenses. All right, we shall make progress again to talk about the past perfect. The past perfect. Okay? Now, that's another tense form under the past tense. Remember, I told you in our previous video that the major tenses are the present, the past, and the future. Now, all these major tenses, they have other subtenses, under each. Now, we are dealing with the subtenses under the past tense as one of the major tenses. Having talked about the simple past tense, the past continuous tense, the next one is the past perfect. The past perfect tense. Now, something needs to really be taken care of here, or to be taken note of, as we talk about the past perfect. In the past perfect tense, that means one or students must have to take note of something, which is the fact that in expressions that are made under the past perfect tense, you take note of the fact that there must be two actions that took place. Two actions actually in the past. One took place eventually in the long run. The other one took place as well. We are going to use sentence expressions to exemplify what we have, or we are saying rather. Somebody could say something like this. He had gone home. He had gone home by the time I came. Now look at this. He had gone home by the time I came. All right. They had disciplined. They had disciplined the students. They had disciplined the students before the principal intercepted. And finally, we could also obtain something like this. She had given up before the doctor arrived with a solution. Arrived with a solution. All right. Now let us look at what we have here on the board under the past perfect tense. What are we seeing already? The first one reads, he had gone home. By the time I came, what are the verbs existing here? We have had and gone. Had gone. Remember, we have has gone. In the case of has gone, that's where we talk about, the present perfect. But we are talking about the past perfect this time. And I did tell you something, that in the past perfect tense, there must be, a situation where we notice actions that took place in the past. Two There must be two different actions that took place in the past. And because of that, now representing such situation in expressions, it must have to involve the use of what we call past perfect tense. And that's why we have something like this. If you notice what we have on the board, what are you seeing already? He had gone home by the time I came. Number one is going home. It happened, going home. Another thing is that I came, all in the past. But the going home took place before I came, all right? Now, representing all these situations in an expression, it must have to take the shape of a past perfect tense. And how do we do that? That's when we say, he had gone. He had gone home by the time I came. Look at it. Still in the past. You see, the going home took place, and that's why it should be had gone by the time I came. Number two, they had discipline. Had and discipline. Remember, the first one is a kind of auxiliary verb in the past, helping the main verb, and the main verbs, gone, discipline, they are in the perfect tense form. That's why it is past perfect, had gone, past, and perfect. It wouldn't be wrong to look at it and you say that it is also called past participle tense. It's the same thing. So they had disciplined the students. The disciplining of the students took place actually before the principal intercepted. So the interception of the principal also took place. So that is why we notice something here, that two actions or two events took place in the past. And that's why they are going to in the expression to talk about the entire thing, we represent it in past perfect tense. They had disciplined the students before the principal intercepted. Have you seen it? Had discipline, past perfect. And finally, we have she had given up. Okay? Had given up. This should be a compound word, all right? She had given up before the doctor arrived with a solution. Now, two events, of course, took place also here. Had given up. She, the person in question, probably the patient, had given up. Then the arrival of the doctor with a solution, which was an action also in the past. So what are we saying? Two actions that happened in the past. That's why we have it as what? Had given up. She had given up before the doctor arrived with a solution. So we have past perfect. This past, simple past, and this is what? In the progressive tense, perfect tense, which is participle. So that's what we need to really take note. Please, we need to really observe these examples under the past perfect tense critically, so that we understand the difference between past perfect tense and simple past tense. Thank you very much.